What's up, everybody? I'm Katie.
And I'm Morgan.
And this is For Your Misinformation. We are two Midwestern feminists here to break down the political news that you need to know without the misinformation that you don't.
Let us break down the problem and tell you what we're doing and what you can do to help solve it.
Hey, Morgan, how was your coup?
Oh, my coup was special. It was my first one.
Wow,
how was your
too.
coup? Yeah?
It was good. I don't know, expecting it, but not expecting it. I mean, I was surprised. I couldn't believe they got into the Capitol. So I think you were in a meeting. I think I texted you and was like, are you watching this? And I think you were like, I'm in a meeting. What? And I was like, the coup. Like, the coup's happening. It's really happening
now,
right now, in the middle of the day, because the president and a bunch of Republicans decided to peddle in conspiracy theories rather than, well, in Trump's case, admit defeat, in the Republicans' case, in order to pander to their racist voters.
Oh. Well, yeah, I know that, my first thought was, oh my goodness, I thought we were better than this. And then I was like, no, we're not.
We're not. We probably say this every episode. Remember when I thought that this podcast would be half fun and half politics?
Yeah.
And now it's anyway, there was a gallows outside of the Capitol. But
yeah, now we're just screaming into the void.
Yes, absolutely. What was I talking about? Sorry.
The coup.
Yeah. I didn't think they'd get in the Capitol. I texted you, couldn't believe.
Yeah, what are any of us talking about these days, though, besides, the coup or coronavirus? Those are...
Everything is so much.
Everything is dust.
All right. So I guess we should say we're recording this on Wednesday at evening.
Yes.
It is January 13th. It's Clark's mom's birthday, so happy birthday, Laura.
Aw, happy birthday.
Although she won't hear this until after her birthday. Sorry. Happy belated birthday. So the House voted on impeachment today. It passed, so Trump has become the first president to get impeached twice. Woohoo! Fun times, good times.
He is now the undefeated champion of presidential impeachment, so...
Maybe if we tell him that enough, he'll just, leave.
That's kind of what I was thinking, too.
You won!
He just wants to be special. Well, this is very
to Florida
special.
Forever. Yeah. Which is, I guess we should say, one of the reasons that we're so in favor. There are so many. It's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's would keep him from running for office ever again, which is incredibly important. I know that these are not entirely perfect comparisons, but Hitler ran for office.
Look, Hitler did a whole coup thing and then got a little slap on the wrist because of it.
Which is what we're doing right now.
And then turned around a decade later and
became Hitler.
The one that we all have heard a lot about.
Right. Wouldn't it have been nice if during the beer hall pooch, or whatever it's called, go look it up on the Holocaust Encyclopedia, if people saw that and were like, oh, a dangerous future dictator, let's impeach him to make it so that he can never run again. Absolutely, everybody would take that. You wouldn't even have to go back in time to kill baby Hitler. You just have to go back in time to the beer hall pooch and say, hey, fuck this guy. Let's if they had the opportunity to impeach him, which we do right now, take it.
Outside of Germany, probably nobody would even know who Adolf Hitler was.
Exactly.
Right.
Just a blip.
So,
and we can do that right now if we don't fuck this up.
Right. And it doesn't matter. Yeah, because again, it's it doesn't matter that he's almost out of office.
Nope.
This is still really important.
They're going to turn this narrative, and by they I mean QAnon conspiracists and the hardcore Trump people who are ignoring facts. And when I think what's so hard for people is people have heard rumors of voter fraud, and I guess it hasn't gotten to everybody that all of those were brought to the court, and in every single case they all said, oh, there's no, they couldn't even bring fraud cases because they didn't have evidence of fraud. They had hearsay. So
believe us, if there would have been any evidence, Bill Barr would have made sure
right
that we all
they would have
knew
exploited
about it.
that. Yeah, so like that was a flop for them, but it's not, because it like some people absolutely are like, well, I heard da da da, and it's like, okay, and I heard that like there's pink hippos that fly in the sky while I'm sleep. Like, it doesn't matter what you heard. Like, they can't prove it, and the burden of proof is on them, and they could not provide any. So that is why when we talk about like how this is all based on a conspiracy theory, that's the big lie. The big lie is that the election was stolen. It should not be hard for people to understand that Trump lost the election. He lost by 3 million votes last time. He lost by 7 million votes this time. Joe Biden got 7 million more votes than Donald Trump in a mix of enough swing states that he won the election pretty handily.
Yeah.
And Georgia. Like, we got Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, so
Georgia in so many ways, and we never even got to actually properly celebrate that with
my
the
God.
Ossoff and Warnock wins.
This is the first episode.
We never got to celebrate that. This is our first episode since that happened.
How?
Historic. And we haven't gotten to be like, yay, Georgia, good job, because of this fucking coup. Ugh.
Good job, Georgia. We love you so much.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the lie. They couldn't get even like the slightest evidence to make it seem like the truth, but still.
Well, that's the thing about conspiracy theories, right? There is no evidence, and to the people who believe them, when people remind them that there's no evidence, they cling on harder to the conspiracy because they're like, yeah, it's such a deep cut.
Yes.
It's such a well hidden conspiracy that there's no evidence that's available, and it's like, or that means it doesn't exist.
Right.
But they refuse to see it that way. That's the problem with conspiracies. And they're dangerous, as we saw last week.
Yeah. I've been thinking about how, like, people who are prone to conspiratorial thinking, white supremacy is, like, the original conspiracy theory. Like...
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, sorry. White supremacy exists. People definitely believe in white supremacy, but it's not true. Like,
right. There's no evidence to support that white people are supreme in any way.
That's all bullshit. Everybody's equal. That is why there's so many white people at the Capitol on January 6th. They were pissed that we're trying to tell them that everybody deserves civil rights. Everybody deserves human rights. And they're like, I would rather the election be stolen and perform an insurrection than stand shoulder to shoulder with women and people of color.
Right, and we know that those people storming the Capitol were super racist because of the interviews with black police officers who were there. Like, all cops are bastards, whatever, we get it. But, like, even bastards are humans, and between the N-word being thrown at them, the threats being thrown at them, the Confederate flag, literally the flag
the tattoos on their body,
wanted black people. Yeah,
their Facebook posts, their social media.
Like, I hope that those officers,
their family members,
I hope those officers and their family members, the black officers, can get some therapy or something, because they probably have some major trauma. Also, like we know from the interviews, their supervisors knew. The people in command knew that this was going to happen, and they chose not to increase security for the riot. They chose to put the lives of their officers and all of our senators at risk because they wanted the insurrectionists to get in. They were worried about it being a bad look, or they're just so bad at their jobs that they actually thought they were just ready as is. So they're either evil or they're stupid.
I just want to know, like,
how do they feel about officers?
These optics? What did you say?
They abandoned those officers.
Yeah. They it was like they were collateral damage.
Yeah. It's surprising that only one actually got killed during the riot. Like,
I think one died by suicide on Saturday.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
probably not unrelated.
And also let's keep in mind that more police officers were killed in a 4-hour riot led by the Trump cult than the entire summer of literal anti-cop protests. So clearly it was never about blue lives mattering. It was always about white supremacy.
Yeah.
And fascism.
Yes. It's possible, and I think at its inception, Blue Lives Matter had good intentions. The way it has been weaponized now, it's absolutely like just a hate symbol of hate. Yep. I'm sorry if like you are a fan of law enforcement and that symbol was taken from you. It's time to let it go.
It is. No, it's absolutely time to let it go.
It's a Nazi flag now.
White people love to take things that like had a good intention and turn them into symbols of white supremacy. I mean, even the swastika, certain runes, they're like Norse gods. I mean, they just love it. They love to do this. So, it's now happened with Blue Lives Matter and the Thin Blue Line movement, and we're very sorry, but
that's some dog whistle shit.
Yeah.
Can we list? So, I mentioned that the impeachment vote was today. At this time, we don't know what Mitch McConnell's going to do. Like rumors are that he is in favor, but he's not going to whip votes for it. And also he's not going to bring the Senate back before their recess is over. So I think they come back on the 19th. The earliest the vote in the Senate would be on the 20th. But I heard he's not going to like whip members this time like he did last time. I think he pressured Republican members not to be in favor of impeachment.
Right.
I guess if they're voting on the 20th, Kamala Harris and John Ossoff. Well, I guess it depends on when the Georgia votes are certified, but at least, oh my God, this is so complicated and annoying. All right, sorry. We're going to read the Republicans in the House that voted in favor of impeachment, which is not what any of them did last time, except for Mitt Romney. Well, sorry, he's in the Senate.
Right. But we have the House members here.
Yes. And we can't know the Senate until like the 20th. So you'll hear from us again before then.
Yeah. I mean, or by then, who knows?
I hope we have a republic still. You want to go first?
Yeah. Would you just want to like alternate?
Sure. I hope we're looking at the same list.
Me too. We'll find out. Yeah. Liz Cheney of Wyoming.
Thank you, Liz. Anthony Gonzalez of Ohio.
Thanks, Tony. Jamie Herrera Butler of Washington.
Thanks, Jamie. John Capco of New York.
Adam Kinzinger of Illinois.
He represents Illinois' 16th district, which he ran against Danny Brzezowski. I talked about Danny Brzezowski a lot. I was a big fan of hers, obviously, and she lost. Adam Kinzinger won. So he represents like the collar counties outside of Chicago, including like DeKalb, but like kind of just in like a half circle around Chicago. And he has come out so strongly in favor of impeachment. Like he clearly has like a moral compass, and this has violated it and he won't stand for it. And I appreciate that so much.
Yeah.
So thank you
you can be a Republican. Just stop being like a neo-Nazi and we can make this
work. Which is my main takeaway from this coup. But all right. So thank you, Adam. Peter Meyer of Michigan.
Dan Newhouse of Washington.
Thank you, Dan. Tom Rice of South Carolina. Oh, Dan Newhouse was first?
Yeah, I think he was the first one to be like,
that takes extra
impeach.
Cojones.
So yeah, good balls there. I'm sorry, I'm drinking. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I guess we should have prefaced this. We're both under the influence, separate substances. Morgan made a margarita and I had an edible. So you get to experience coup time.
This is going to get progressively worse as the episode
That's true. So we should probably hurry then, because we already just said cojones and nice balls.
There's gonna be so much to cut, Ben. I'm so sorry. I mean, even starting from the beginning, that beginning was probably rough. Anyway.
Oh well. Tom Rice of South Carolina.
Thanks, Tom. Fred Upton of Michigan.
Freddie, thank you. And David Valadao?
Yes.
Of California.
Good job, Republicans who aren't as bad as the rest of them.
Yeah. I mean, I really hope that this gives the Republicans in the Senate like permission to step. I mean, if Mitch McConnell's doing it, then like I think other people have permission. But so that
like really, I hate that this might be the perspective that they needed, and they being like Republicans who aren't like sucking Trump's dick, like just like OG Republicans. Like I hate that this was the wake up call that they needed, but maybe now they'll actually start to think. Period. But also like, what's actually more offensive to the flag of our country? Flying the flag of literal traitors in our capital, or just somebody like kneeling respectively and being quiet during a song?
Yeah. I think, that's the furthest the Confederate flag has ever been in our capital. And I don't think people are mad enough about it. But yeah, so they have real integrity and real, like, strongly held conservative beliefs that I think aren't based in evidence and I disagree with, but I understand them. And they're not, I mean, some of it's based on like Reaganomics, which literally is a conspiracy theory, but they're the ones that have integrity, and you can tell which ones are acting because they think it's the right thing to do. And I just really appreciate it. And the other ones, so the ones that there's 147 members of Congress who watched the coup, were in the coup, like had to shelter in place with members of Congress who weren't wearing masks. Okay. Not important. The important part is that for like 6 hours, there was a delay because insurrectionists made it into the Capitol somehow. And then they came back from that and decided to still vote to investigate the conspiracy theory that started this whole fucking thing. That is despicable. It's unacceptable. There should be swift consequences, like censure or they should really be removed. Like, would we have 147 members of the Confederacy in our legislature? That's insane.
No,
that's an insane thing to think about.
And the fact that we actually didn't do enough to punish, like, former Confederates after the Civil War, which, like, don't at me. I know that that's a thing people very much disagree with, whether we were nice to the Confederates post-Civil War or not. Some people think we weren't harsh enough. Some people think we were too mean. I don't care. The point is that maybe the fact that we still have, like, army bases named after Confederates sends the wrong message that, like, it's okay to be a traitor to your country. We'll still remember you forever in a good
stone.
Way. Like, what? No.
Yeah.
We need to actually send a message this time. I mean, one, maybe before we get to the point of Civil War. And two, send the correct message that, like, actually, this bullshit won't be tolerated. So goodbye.
Yes. So those 147 members, without doubt, like, they should be removed because they are traitors to our country. And I do not feel at all that it's an exaggeration to say that. So they are a malignant cancer. That's how I look at the Republican Party. They're a malignant cancer in a party that has traditional conservative beliefs. So it should be in everybody's interest in the Republican Party to get that cancer the fuck out of there before it spreads, because it is spreading. Trump, he incited like enough people that he could get a critical mass of them to terrorize the Capitol. Like, one of the longest standing democracies, like, almost got brought down because he weaponizes misinformation. Oh my God. I don't know.
Can you imagine if this group of Trump MAGA freaks would have actually been well organized?
Right. Yes.
Oh my God. If they had been half as well organized as Antifa,
there would have been assassinations fucked. For sure.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I just realized what you said. Sorry, that's funny.
It's true, though. Like, and that's why, like, when they're like, it was Antifa, I'm like, no, it wasn't. If it was Antifa, it probably would have
had,
fucking
like, event
worked.
Organizers.
Also, they would have been wearing masks.
Mm-hmm. There would have been people handing out water bottles.
Like,
there would have been people in vests, like, navigate, like, no.
Yeah, there would have been a first aid station.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yes,
there wouldn't have been posts on social media about it.
Yeah, no, on like public profiles.
Yeah, and like, no, it's just
they wouldn't have live streamed themselves. doing an insurrection.
Yeah. Like, also, like, you know how the Trump crime syndicate likes to do things and then accuse their opponents of doing those things? That's just this happening again whenever they say it was Antifa. Like, you can only, like, Boy Who Cried Wolf so many times, and eventually people are going to be like, okay, dude, like, we totally know your thing now where you do something bad, and then you're like, they did something bad! Like, no, it's not. Nobody is convinced except for the people who can
be convinced of anything.
Yeah. Except for the people who still think that there's a pizza parlor in DC with a child trafficking ring in the basement.
Point. This is the Pizzagate coup. This is just an extension of that.
Yeah, it's just Pizzagate
misinformation,
but a little bigger and a little more traitorous.
Bigger. But we probably should have realized that this shit was like very dangerous in this way way back at Pizzagate, maybe when Gretchen Whitmer was almost.
Yeah.
How did the FBI catch that but not this? Oh, because they were borderline complicit. Okay, maybe we should take that out.
We have to talk about like the response to the difference between the anti-mask protests and stuff over the summer where they had guns and were on the Capitol steps with signs about how much they wanted to hang Gretchen Whitmer and, I mean, among others. And, like, the police response to that versus the police response to Black Lives Matter or the police response to the coup. Like, and it's race-based. And here's a very good example from my own home state. So this summer, there was a Black Lives Matter march. There were about 200 people there. It was at the Capitol. There were barricades around the actual Capitol, but we could be on the grass in front of it, surrounded by police officers who tried to corral people into the barricades while there were speakers giving speeches about civil rights and those kinds of things. And then just all of a sudden the cops were like, okay, you have to leave now, and started throwing tear gas. Like, for 200 people who were literally just standing there.
Expressing their First Amendment right to protest.
Like, being like, hello, let's stop killing black people. Like,
in favor of a thing that really happens. Really, really systemic police brutality. That's what they're trying to protest.
Yep. Yeah.
And then the police brutalized them.
And I saw a couple white girls start throwing water bottles at police, and the instant that they did it, the actual people that were there for the protests were like, no, go. Leave, go home. We don't want you here if you're going to be doing that. That's not what we're here for.
Right.
Immediately.
You're not helping the cause.
Yeah, and this group was surrounded by police, had tear gas and all this stuff thrown, right? Okay, well, like 3 days ago, in the same location, 4,000 white people marched into the state capitol building protesting masks, protesting wearing masks. First off, were we not over protesting masks in April?
Are you talking about Iowa?
Yes, Iowa. There were 4,000 white people who got into the Capitol building. Zero police. Nobody was stopping them. The most they had to do was get their temperature checked to make sure they didn't have a fever before they came in. They had no masks. They had signs that were like facts over fear.
What day was this?
All of this. I think like Monday.
Okay,
maybe?
so oh wait, no, after the insurrection.
Yeah. No, it was after the insurrection. So after the insurrection, a state capitol still let a bunch of angry white people
mask mandate.
Just walk right the fuck in. Yeah.
What are they mad about?
We don't have a mask mandate in Iowa.
Which is a problem.
So there are a bunch of white people protesting a mask mandate that really doesn't exist. Like, it was insane. And they just, like, angrily went in there demanding to speak to their manager, Kim Reynolds, the governor of Iowa. And I'm like, I'm sorry, excuse me, 200 people just, like, being like, hello, don't shoot black people, had like tear gas and flashbang things, whatever they are, thrown at us, and like were corralled in the lawn. But this bigger
people
crowd
carrying
of,
a plague,
right? But these like actual plague rats just get to come on in and nothing.
That's insane.
And that's what it's like.
I had no idea.
That right there is exactly how you know that, like, one, America is racist as fuck. 2, white people are the absolute worst. 3,
who do cops see as the enemy?
Yeah, like, the cops obviously see black people as the enemy, and that this coup situation, yeah, definitely going to attempt to happen again during inauguration week.
Yeah.
Like, they're saying it's going to happen again, and it probably is. And at least another attempt is going to happen again. It still won't be successful.
Wait,
but
the kitten has entered my room. If he's about to shit on my floor again, I'm going to be so mad. Hold on, sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm pissed. You should be too.
Okay, sorry. Crisis averted.
I'm glad a kitten didn't shit on your floor.
That's how I woke up this morning, is at 5 a.m. The kitten, thankfully he pooped on the hardwood floor, not my rug, but he had a poop that smelled so bad that it woke me up fast enough that I could take a video of him trying to cover it up, even though he pooped on my floor instead of his litter box, during which he got shit on his paw, which like obviously made it worse. So anyway, he's banned from my room, and he like a little bit smells like poop all the time because I think gets it on his feet.
Yeah. Also,
he's
kittens
gross.
sometimes have gas problems.
Oh.
Like, kittens can sometimes just be kind of stinky because they get the farts.
He farts so much.
Yeah, they just smell. It's
a lot
all the time.
Okay, sorry for the interruption.
All right, and we're back. Yeah, so everything is racist.
Yeah.
And a lot of white people right now are having consequences for the very first time ever, and they don't like it.
Right.
That being said, I certainly won't mourn from them when they die from COVID because they protested with some fellow plague rats. I shouldn't even use the word protest, but, riot, whatever you want to call it. Or that they lose their homes or businesses due to their reckless and traitorous actions. This is not me saying, like, we should blow up their homes or threaten to shoot them while they sleep. We're not that that's happening. We're not about that. We are opposed to extreme doxing. However, feel free to leave a pile of dog shit on their doorstep or throw deviled eggs at their car if you're a fan of the Gilmore Girls.
I've never. Sorry, that's for somebody else. What did you say right before the deviled eggs thing?
Dog shit on their porch.
Oh, right. So we have to establish really strong social norms in this moment that kind of shit will not be accepted in one of the oldest and greatest democracies in the world. We're a young country, but an old democracy, and democracies have a tendency for this shit to happen. And this is how you do it. He's operating by the authoritarian playbook. We talk about it all the time.
Yep.
So it's really scary to me that this Trump cult, this QAnon cult, this weird mingling of all of that it's basically a cancer, and it's scary that it's gotten to this stage because there were plenty of times and plenty of people who said, hey, this is a cancer that's growing and we need to get it out. Really, since the extermination of Native Americans and slavery, really it's been growing since then. But people have really been accurately diagnosing it since at least Reagan. So since we've decided, not we, we were babies, I'm just saying that is our work now. It would have been way easier to deal with it then, but that's our work now. No good to be angry about decisions that mediocre white men made decades ago before we were born, unless you channel that anger into action. So find the people around you who understand that and work with them to make it a reality. You should join your local Indivisible group or whatever group is near you that does the same thing. But of course, change is hard, but it's the only option. The other option is to succumb to white supremacy, and we won't let that happen here.
No.
We know too much. We won't let it happen here.
Yeah, and
Black women organizers won't let it happen here.
It's so true. It's so true. God, I'm so grateful to Black women and their sense of self-preservation, because without them, we would be extra fucked.
Right. And
I hate
preservation too.
Why are Black women having to always carry us? God, their backs must hurt.
Yep.
But we as a country, people are like, this is not America. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But we can get better. That's the thing. This is America, but it's not the America that we want to have. And when I say we, I mean most of us, with the exception of, everyone who voted for Trump. But like none of the people who stormed the Capitol, or none of the people who excuse the storming of the Capitol, or forgive the storming of the Capitol or whatever, none of that gets excused from this because they were just brainwashed by Trump or the media or Q or anyone else. Nobody gets to claim, deniability just because, like, I'm just so scared of the black people. What if they have the majority? What's going to happen to me? No, you don't get to say that. You don't get to be that way. That's not it. That's a bad take. That's a really bad take. Like, my own great grandfather was literally in the KKK, like actually a Klan member. His son, my grandfather, who I've talked about on this podcast before, spent most of his life experiencing a lot of trauma, dirt poor. He's a veteran of the U.S. Navy. He didn't go off to some college and get a fancy liberal education. And now he's an old man with an old man sense of media literacy, exactly the type of white person that should be very vulnerable to the MAGA tribe. But he isn't. He's not, because
so it's a choice.
Bigotry is a choice.
Oh, sorry, I stole that from you.
No, that's okay. No, that's okay. Like, it is, like, he didn't join the maggots because he's not a bigot and he doesn't want to, and that's not the America that he fought for when he was a young man.
Your grandpa rules.
Like, that's not the America that he has fought for, even after his military career, just as a very active member of the Democratic Party. Like, and that's not the America that we're fighting for now. It sucks that it's still this hard, but my grandpa's still very much alive, and I would really, really love it if all of us, you, me, all the listeners, can just continue making him proud with our fight for a better, less racist country. Because he said that he's very proud of us for what we're doing.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's nice of him. I was like, yeah, no, if we disappoint him by letting this democracy turn into more of a plutocracy than it already is, I don't know how I'll live with myself.
Yeah, I will never forgive myself, and my ancestors won't forgive me either, so I won't allow it. FYI, like, we have brought up a couple times the Black Lives Matter movement protests over the summer, and that's because of, like, the police response and the stark differences between the police responding to the insurrection attempt versus people marching for Black lives. But we want to make it very clear, the events themselves are not comparable at all. Like, the attendees of the coup gathered with the intent of storming the Capitol. They really truly thought they were part of some revolution. We know this because Elizabeth from Knoxville said so. Also, the literal Nazis, including several elected officials, who tweeted things like, "Today is our 1776, the day of the insurrection." Like, the people who showed up and participated or supported that coup really truly thought that with violence and just demanding it, they could trash our democracy. They really truly showed up that day thinking that event was the means to their end, which is 4 more years plus however many more terms of Donald Trump and the rest of his crime syndicate. Which, I mean, really, though, it's a less sophisticated tactic than, like, for how my dog tries to take toys away from my other dog. And it's in no way actually comparable to marching in support to systemic change for a more equitable nation. It's just not. Nobody marching for Black lives showed up thinking that day and that march was going to, by the end of the evening, dismantle centuries of white supremacy. They knew it would get conversations rolling the way it did in the 60s when we last had significant progress for racial equality in America. But, like, nobody who was actually showing up to march for Black lives was also ransacking Target or spray painting death to the whites on a Starbucks, because they had a cause that they were showing up for, and they knew that was not the way forward. They knew that is not activism. That's terrorism.
It's counterproductive to their cause.
Yeah. And so let's be honest, like, the people who were violent this summer and aggressive, those were not the people that were marching for Black lives. Those were the cops, mostly.
Right. And that has been happening for decades. Yeah. And you can find, I'm sure there's, I mean, I know because we've done reports on systemic police injustice, reports. We've done episodes. I mean, I guess they're kind of reports. They feel like book reports to me, but like fun book reports. But like commissions found, like police commissions found that like those marches in the 60s, that police started the riots. Like the police investigated themselves and like they so this has been happening forever. We know that this is a real issue. It's
the cell phone data that they used to track and to try to track down the rioters from the Black Lives Matter protests didn't match the actual people doing the marches. It only matched the people that were showing up to destroy Fifth Avenue or whatever.
Yes. And those people were, so my main, this is what like Dan Crenshaw is talking about, one of the worst Republicans in my opinion from Texas. He's in the House of Representatives. He's the guy with the eye patch. My favorite fact about him is that he's only like 5'7", but anyway, not important.
We only body shame Nazis.
Yeah. And he has like, just his approach to I mean, he was a member of the armed services, so like, but he takes that approach to politics, which I think is really inappropriate and also like really weird. Like he released like a video that seemed like it was more for a military ad. It was like a helicopter thing. It was so weird. I mean, he's just weirdly aggressive. But anyway, he keeps talking about how like people on the left are hypocritical because there was violence. They failed to condemn the violence during the Black Lives Matter protests, but they are condemning the violence at the Capitol. Black Lives Matter protesters were using their First Amendment right to protest. They were protesting a real systemic problem in our country, police brutality. Not an insignificant amount of times they were brutalized by the police while they were doing that. That is totally and completely different than conspiracy theorists showing up to the U.S. Capitol to try and create an insurrection based on misinformation spread by the president. They're just, I mean, we brought up a bunch of points and they're all very valid, but I get like fuming mad when I think about people comparing these two things. Sure, we condemn the violence of the Black Lives Matter protests. The real violence there came from the police, but there was some looting, whatever, afterwards. But if police were murdering people who looked like me and getting away with it for decades, I might light a target on fire. I don't know. I mean, I hope this doesn't get me put on like a list, but
we're probably already on a list.
Yeah,
if we're going to get put on the list, we're already on the list.
Yeah, I think we have to go like hard with this. We either have to go like hard enough that we ensure that democracy stays around, because otherwise, like, I think we're the people who get murdered pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
But I think they'd murder Sarah Kendzior and Andrea Chalupa before they would murder us.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, their podcast is way bigger than ours.
Gaslit Nation, listen to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, also, like, Donald Trump's Twitter ban, maybe we should address that real quick.
Sure.
It's good. Actually censorship if a private company doesn't let you use their service. Like, if a bakery is allowed to refuse to bake a gay wedding cake, Twitter can ban Donald Trump.
Yep.
And stop comparing it to China, you fucking morons. Like, do private citizens in China frequently ban Xi Jinping from addressing the nation? No. Like, Trump trying to ban TikTok in America was more like something that would happen in China. And, like, you're allowed free speech by the First Amendment. Yay. But you are not guaranteed a platform.
Congress is not allowed to impose restrictions on your speech.
Yeah.
Congress. Society can absolutely make you feel consequences for your actions. And we should. And that is what these social norms are about. It's why we should, like, oh my God, your dog is so cute.
He's so cute.
But yeah, it's why we have to react like boldly. I'm glad that Nancy Pelosi, I think she should have issued articles of impeachment even sooner, but I guess I understand like trying to make Pence feel guilty for one moment, but he did not, as we knew he would not. But anyway, I'm glad that she did that. I hope that there are like real consequences for the people sitting in Congress who are part of the insurrection. But like, if we're still talking about like the Republican Party as like an organism and like having a cancerous tumor or whatever, there's still a significant amount of cells that I am not sure about. And that is the ones who are staying silent. And that, in my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of other people's opinions, that itself is violence. That is also very cowardly. And if it were up to me, I would cut those cells out because I'm not confident that they would not turn into a cancer.
Yeah, exactly. Like, silence is violence signs that people were holding this summer are accurate. They really are, especially in times like this. And yeah, and like, you have a free speech, but you're not guaranteed a platform. You're not guaranteed hate speech without consequences. You are not guaranteed to be able to inspire violent insurrections without consequences.
Yes.
Getting your book published is also not a First Amendment right, Josh. And back to the gay wedding cakes. Like, why did that case make to the Supreme Courts, but Donald Trump getting banned from Twitter won't? Because humans who define themselves as LGBTQ plus, like, are and should be a protected class. And unfortunately for Trump and his fan base, evil is not a protected class, and neither is stupid.
Or bigotry.
So
not in there.
You're out of luck.
Yes.
Like, Also, like, we did just say this isn't comparable to China. It's not comparable to Russia either.
Although I could see us very quickly becoming a lot like Russia if we don't, like, squash this right now.
Yeah.
He could pretty quickly go the way of the former Soviet Union and, like,
read all about how close to turning into a Russia-like situation we are, and Hiding in Plain Sight by Sarah Kendzior. God, yes. Suddenly you'll realize, like, why we are kind of pretty pro-Antifa on this podcast, because boo fascism, right?
Sure. If you're talking about, like, Antifa as the extremists on the left, like, if somebody was like, yeah, this is Katie, she's a member of Antifa, I'd be like, sure. Like, I don't like fascism. That's what Antifa means. So, sure. Like, I don't consider myself an extremist by any definition of the word. I just like to implement evidence-based policies whenever possible and elect scientifically literate, compassionate people.
Yeah, exactly. Like, both sides in the issue isn't productive. It's not. And are there people on the far left who are way off base with their ideology? Yes. Are there people on the right who are way off base? Yes.
But the people that he's calling, like, extremists on the left are calling for, like, Medicare for all and a Green New Deal, which we've done episodes on both. Both are just, like, so sensationalized. Like,
remember when women being allowed to, like, vote or own property was, like, an extremist leftist idea?
Not that long ago.
It was not that long ago. Yeah. So, like, that's just one example why it's so dangerous to, like, both sides things or be afraid to rock the boat.
Yeah.
Because, like, being afraid to rock the boat probably means there's people in the water drowning and no one is helping them. Yeah. Or just, like, they want to help them, but it's easier to pretend that they're not drowning, so we're just gonna not rock the boat and, oh, look, a bird!
Yeah.
Like, we can't do that.
I'm noticing, like, you might think that, like, your silence. This sounds like a threat. I don't really mean it as a threat. I just can't believe how many people I'm losing respect for this year. We've both had arguments about police brutality with white men this week.
White men who we previously respected.
Exactly. That's the.
Yeah, and it's like so every time you're being a super white male, it just makes me decide that I'm that much closer to actually just being a full-on socialist. Like,
I thought you were going to say full-on lesbian.
Oh, no, that is already... that ship has sailed. No, that one happened a long time ago, I think. Like, yeah, no, I'm like, the next white guy who decides he needs to text me explaining why
he's right and you're wrong.
Yeah, why he's right and I'm wrong. I'm gonna literally Google how to make a Molotov cocktail.
We are gonna
I don't actually know how to
so
make
many
one.
Lists.
I don't actually
why don't
know.
You just
I didn't even know how to make this margarita, which is probably why I'm very drunk right now.
Yes, we should. Never mind. You should. Have you blocked that guy's number yet?
No, but he did.
I wish you would.
He texted
I
me
wish
today
you would just block
saying,
it.
Are you upset?
Yes, you're racist, and you just told on yourself. And yes, we're upset. Go away. Ugh.
What do you think? You're being racist. Like,
he doesn't think he's being racist.
Ugh.
He thinks he's a good guy.
Oh,
50%.
My dog.
Oh, sorry, Sage. We're mad about racism, and you should be too, but you don't even know it exists because you're a golden retriever.
Okay, not gonna lie though, the first time he met a black person, he barked at them, and we had a long conversation about like why we do not do that.
Good parenting. I don't know. The thing that I think this is the last point that I'll make, but just like the thing that keeps me optimistic is that like they're using violence to try and take this democracy by force, which just is like an indication that the old order is like slipping away. And when that starts to happen, like people freak out. Like, so the people who are losing power freak out. So that's what we're seeing now. That's why they're so desperately trying to cling to it, because it's slipping away. Raphael Warnock had a quote, I think from this weekend, and he just said, "You cut off the head of a snake and it shakes and moves violently, not because it's living, but because it's dying. Power concedes nothing without a demand."
Oh.
So that makes me feel a little bit better that it's like, oh yeah, we just have to keep going. Like, it's working. We're at a vulnerable point, but
yeah,
we see fully what's happening and where we need to go. So I have faith that smarter people do. My elected official, Marie Newman, sure does. So I feel good about that.
I have no comment because I live in Iowa.
I'm so sorry. We'll fix it eventually. We'll work on it.
Yeah.
Because Iowa's just Georgia without Stacey Abrams yet.
Yeah.
There probably is a Stacey Abrams there, but I don't know. Anyway,
you know.
I guess we'll talk to you guys when we know more about impeachment and have more to talk about. But
yeah,
I hope you
absolutely.
That
until then, you know,
this coup was unacceptable.
Yeah, this
you
coup
should be
was
mad.
Not okay. And it's okay to be mad about it, and it's okay to drink
into
about
something
it.
positive. Oh, positive things.
Yeah, or
yes,
positive.
Of course.
Yeah, positive is good.
So last week I talked to Amy Burrell of of Orland Park, and she's running for village trustee. I forgot to put a link to donate to her and their campaign in the bio of last week's episodes. I feel really bad. So I'm going to do that in this week's episode. The reason that I am so excited, I mean, I hope you heard me talk to her last week. If not, please go do it, or please go listen. It's a really good episode. But essentially, Sarah Kendzior and Andrea Chalupa, two experts in former authoritarian states and the rise of authoritarian states, basically gave people a homework assignment, which was to find the most Trump-like figure near you and get them the fuck out of office. And for me, that's Keith Pekow, who is the current mayor of Orland Park. He acts just like Trump.
Love that.
So
my local reps are pretty liberal.
That's good.
Because I'm in Des Moines. But
right.
From a state perspective, Chuck Grassley's got to go.
Oh my God.
He's bad.
Yes, that's true. 2 huge things happened in Illinois today. 2 huge, amazing things happened in Illinois today.
Yes.
I could not believe
gosh. Share your hoorays.
Yes. Mike Madigan, for the first time in my life, is not the leader of the Illinois House. For the first time in my life, he's a terrible person. He's super slimy. Like he's the epitome of like the Democrat who takes all of the corporate donations and has loyalty not to his constituents. He ran unopposed in the primary last. It's unbelievable. So anyway, he is no longer Speaker of the House. cheers to that. I need to look up the name of the new guy because I don't want to be an asshole. But we have the very first in Illinois, the first black Speaker of the House now, and I am psyched. His name's Chris Welch. So congratulations to him. Fuck Mike Madigan forever. Let's get a primary going against him next time. I don't care who does it. I do care who does it. I hope it's a woman. I hope it's a woman of color. But let's get him the fuck out of there because he's had so much influence over Illinois politics for so long that like nobody's been able to get, I mean, what they wanted to get to. Only what Mike Madigan wants is what happens. And I'm so glad.
Term limits, people. Term limits.
I'm so thrilled. And then the other thing that I'm thrilled about is police reform passed in Illinois.
Yay!
Like big, meaningful police reform that's gonna get implemented over the next like 2 to 5 years. I mean, it's gonna be phased in, but I'll talk next. I mean, I probably have a document open with this stuff in it already, but I'll talk next time about exactly what's in it. It could be a whole
episode, honestly.
It probably will. I mean, I'm gonna make it into an Instagram post for sure, but like,
especially as more states follow suit.
Yeah. Ending qualified immunity, can't get that military equipment from the federal government anymore, bans that. Amazing. It does require more like bias or
trainings.
What is it? Trainings that it doesn't provide funding for, which is what people are mad about, but it's like fix your budgets. Like public health departments and schools have to do that constantly. Like, I don't know. I don't care. Figure it out. We defund education and other shit constantly. Like, you're not good at your job. Sorry.
Yeah,
okay,
we
whatever.
literally
Anyway.
won't feed a hungry child at school. I think you guys will figure it out. It'll be fine.
I don't know. I don't care what you have to cut out. You guys, I'm sure, can do it. But anyway, passed big, meaningful police reform. So now it goes to J.B. Pritzker's desk, and I think he's going to sign it. So yeah, it passed the Senate, I think, like 60-50, which is what we were both arguing with people about this week.
I don't even live in Illinois anymore.
I know. And you know more about this bill than the person I was talking to, I think.
Probably.
I really hope he doesn't listen to this. I don't think he will. I don't think his wife will either. A dear friend of mine. Anyway.
So yeah, that is
police reform passed. That's all I wanted to say.
Big Sorry. Hooray for the
what
week.
What do you have?
No,
okay. I'm thrilled. I can't even explain how happy I am. Like, I'm so happy.
Well, I have a really awesome outfit for the inauguration.
Ooh.
And I'm excited about
it. Or are you going to tell me about it?
It's a pink sequined blazer.
Ooh, I love it.
So
I think you asked me when you were buying this if you should buy it.
I was like, should I buy this? Like, this seems like a big waste of money. And then my mom was like, oh, would you like this for Christmas? And I was like, yeah.
Mom. Clutch.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to wear my pink sequined blazer on Inauguration Day. Make it a party for yourself, everyone.
I think
you
it's a great
deserve
idea.
it. And then, otherwise, aside from the coup, I've got so many things to be really happy about. I downloaded TikTok, and I discovered so many cute animals on there, like cats and like a beaver named Beeve. And, I've been able to go skiing because I live in the Midwest and we've actually got some snow. And I mean, Nordic skiing. I don't mess with that downhill stuff. So that's been very fun. Sorry, Southern friends who don't get to enjoy the beauty of the snow. My feral cats are snuggling in their cat houses that I made for them.
Oh my God, amazing.
Yeah, I finally met another crazy cat lady at the feral colony. So it's nice to know I'm not the only one out there.
Nope.
I knew I wasn't because sometimes there'd be food there that I know I didn't put, but it was cool to meet another person. And one of the cats, his name's Rocky, but him and I are starting to become friends. He meows at me now, and that is a big step forward for a feral cat.
Are you talking about that big orange one?
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like a formidable opponent. He has, he looks like Scar from The Lion King.
Yeah, he'll come up to and he'll still stay a few feet away. Like, he doesn't want me to pet him, but he'll come up like close to me and meow. This like
I think it's a blossoming
awkward
friendship.
little meow. Like, he clearly like doesn't know exactly what sound he's making, but he's trying his best. And then I'll toss him like a piece of chicken or something, and he'll eat it. And then if another cat comes over, he growls, but like doesn't pause to eat. Or like he doesn't pause his eating to growl. He just like eats and growls, and it's cute, and I love him, and we're best friends. And I tried to get him to come home with me. He did not, but he kind of looked like he might want to. So I'll try again next weekend to get him into my car.
Yes, please keep us updated.
He's very cute.
Good. All right. Well, it's been about an hour, so I guess we should probably go.
Well, sorry.
We're not sorry.
We're not sorry. No, I'm not. We highly recommend listening to the podcast Ologies or This Podcast Will Kill You. If you want to learn more about vaccine COVID stuff. I know it's been a while since we've talked about it, but those two resources have great episodes. Learn all about some vaccines from some science folk.
I should do that. I should definitely do that. I've been neglecting that. I think because of the insurrection. I think I've had a little bit more than I can handle. But
yeah, have a happy inauguration, everyone.
Have a great inauguration. I hope, the terrorism is minimal. And we'll talk to you afterwards to go over all of it. I guess in the meantime, stay sexy and
don't start a coup.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Not hard.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you guys so much for listening to For Your Misinformation. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast. And if you like it, give us a rating and a review.
It helps us find more listeners, and the more of us there are, the better. And make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at FYMIPod.
Shout out to Ben Schlofelt for the audio production, Hope Dye for the podcast art, Kyle Dibdahl for the intro and outro music, and Adam Roston, who edits these videos every week so you can watch them on YouTube.
We come out with new episodes every Monday.